Well, hello there. My name is Jay with CompuMatter and ServerMatter, and the purpose of this video is to create a video that details how to use a product called Playwright with Claude Code in a Linux environment to edit the back end of your WordPress install. It'll certainly work on the front end as well, but the idea is that you don't have to enter credentials and manually test the results every time you want to make a change and verify, did the change work, and then have to go back to Claude Code and tell it, it doesn't look like it needs to, or this functionality isn't there. So you end up being the iterator, and it takes you all day long to get the code written. Where ideally, you could have code log into the back end of your WordPress, look at the code, look at the UI that you want it to look at, attempt to use it, simultaneously look at your PHP error log, see if the functionality behaves as it's supposed to, and modify it and iterate on its own until it's done while you watch. Now, I am no expert at this. I literally just learned how to pull this together today, and so this video serves as a roadmap for me in the future as much as it does as a way for you to get your feet wet. So with no further ado, let's dig in. All right, to start with, I have created a document that details this, and you're going to need to edit a few things for your own purposes. Job one, make sure you have WordPress CLI installed. You can simply go to a command line and type in WP. If it responds, it's installed. And we're going to be creating an application password, although we're going to need two different kinds of passwords here. The normal login for your WordPress environment and also an application password, which you see commonly in the email world, and you do see it with some other apps as well. WordPress makes this available. So go to a command line, type in WP user, application password, create whatever user that you use on your WordPress install, and we'll use Claude Code testing as a reason for this application password. You can put anything you want to, and the flag porcelain after that. And I don't know what that is. I haven't dug into that. You can sure leave it in comments if you want. That's going to reply with an app password for that user. You need to save that off to the side because you're going to need to fill that in your environment file as we move along. Now, if you were right now, after doing this, log into your WordPress environment, it's going to show you something that looks like this. It'll show you under the user, where you go into users, you look at the bottom of your screen, you're going to find application passwords, and you'll see the one that you just created for Claude Code testing. And you can revoke that at any time. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is test that password. So you're going to write a curl statement that uses whatever URL to your website environment, the actual username that logs into WordPress that you have created this app password under, and then the app password itself. And if that works as it's supposed to, that's going to reply with a JSON string similar to this one. That means we're good to move to the next step. Next thing we're going to do is install NVM. Now, you may already have it installed. You may already have the version you want installed, and that's great. We're assuming you don't, or maybe you have an older version, and this will bring you up to date. We're going to download and install the latest version by typing in this command. And this will install version 3.9. And that will give you, actually this installs the Node version manager, and that will provide these replies. None of that is typed by me, only this first line, the rest is output. And then we're going to reload the shell so that any environment variables on the Node environment is ready to go, and you don't have to log out and log back in again. So source, tilde, bash, and so on. Then we're going to verify the, I say NPM version, but it's actually the NVM version. Need to change that. And it shows you NVM 39, so we know that went according to plan. And now we are going to install the latest Node version. I've got to get that right. NVM install --LTS, which is going to give you the latest long-term support version of Node. and it tells you here it's installing. The rest of it's all output. I didn't type any of it. we're going to set the default NVM to be the same as the one that we just installed. So NVM alias default, the version that got installed, and you can see that installation version, by the way, we got from right here. We're going to reload the node version manager and switch to the current version, which we do right here, and that'll confirm the version for us. Okay, I think this is redundant because we just did that above, and then we're going to go to npm install Claude. So this is going to install Claude Code, even if you've already got it in there, using the version of Node that we're running under. Because if you already installed code before under a different version, you're going to type Claude and it's not going to reply. So this gets that done. Now we're going to install Playwright. You're going to cd to the base of your WordPress directory, wherever that may be, and then run these commands: npm init-y, npm install Playwright, npx Playwright install Chromium. That's going to install a local version of Chromium for you to use. And by the way, it's my understanding that these are not global at this point. It's actually being installed only for this project in this directory. So if you have another project, you'll have to do this part again for that project. We're going to verify the node modules are installed. If you look at this directory right here, ls node modules Playwright, it should show you the files indicating that that was installed correctly. Now this next part is custom. You're going to need to create a hidden file. You can create any file you want to. I've created a hidden file. You can name it anything you want to. I've called mine playwright_env. And in it, you're going to put the URL that you're going to be accessing, the base URL of the website. It'll deal with the WP admin and all that. Afterwards, we'll talk about that. The WordPress username, which in both cases is going to be the same. And then both the WordPress password as well as the app-specific password that we generated earlier, which we're calling the REST password here. And then Playwright headless false, Playwright slow-mo 1000, I forget what those are, but they're embedded in the test file. And just duplicate that and you'll be good. Now your Playwright test.js file is going to be specific to you in many ways. We've created our own using Claude as a guidepost. We've queried it, asked us to generate this file so that we can test this environment. You're getting the benefit of seeing that here. You might have to tweak that for your own purposes, but let me show you what's inside this test JavaScript file. So Node's going to call this file, and you see it's telling it to install Chromium, some make directory programs, a variety of different functionality that it needs are preloaded. It pulls the URL from the environment file. The load environment file is a function which tells it which file it is that's being loaded, which in our case is that hidden file that we created earlier. You'll find those naming conventions in here, which you can change for your own purposes. But what this is going to do, and by the way, this was for my plugin, which is called CM Panels. So you're going to find various references in here. Like this is initially, it's going to navigate to the plugin by going to the base URL of the install, which we put in the environment file, wp-admin php, and page equal whatever your plugin name is. And this, you can restructure this for your own purposes, but this gives you an idea what's happening. Here we're going to, the first thing we're telling it to do is right now, take a screenshot while it's at that page before it even logs in so it can see what's there, and it will save that screenshot. It gives you console output, and it's also going to take a screenshot after it logs in, and then it's going to go to where the plugin is displayed, and it's going to change some controls, add and save a record, which we're going to show you how all that's done. Now this file tells it to do that. Await media dropdown. Select this option, and it's giving it some very specific instructions of what to do to test the functionality. But it doesn't have to all be like this. For the original test, that's what we did. And now we're going to run the actual test file that we just created. And we're going to run it using this command right here. So let me copy that and let you see the magic. Okay, you can see there are no images in that directory. This is that directory on the left. We're going to come over to our terminal and run that command. And the test.js file is the file that you just saw. We happen to have it in our CM plugins JavaScript directory. You can put it wherever you want, and we'll run it. Now, that just opened a browser on my third monitor. That just happened dynamically. My hands are off. It logged in dynamically. It went to the panels group management area dynamically. It just put in the group name dynamically. Now, I've noticed on the selection from the select or a media orientation box, it takes it a little while to sort out whatever it's got to sort out. Again, hands off. There's nobody under my elbows, I promise. Okay, I just changed the media orientation. I saw the Create Panel Group button get clicked. It's done. It closed the browser on its own. It now says Test Screenshot Saved in Playwright Test Results. Move that out of the way. If we look in Playwright Test Results, we in fact see the images. And before login is one of those images. Let's close the... There it is, what we would expect before the login. After the login, it brings us to the main dashboard. CM panels, that would be the current state when it first logged in, and CM panels. So it stopped short of creating the actual, well, that's probably an error in my code. Okay, so I just determined by clicking on Create Panel Group, it threw this error in the console. Now this is where I think it's going to get interesting because now once you've established that Playwright's installed and Claude knows Playwright's installed and where it's installed, I found you can then ask it some new things that had nothing to do with the test script that you created earlier. As a for instance, I didn't like the way that the UI looked. I created a picture in Photoshop showing how I wanted the UI to look. I put that in a place that was accessible by code. I told it to compare this picture to the UI that it sees on the back end, and it carried out the instructions by itself, went there, looked at it, reshaped the back end to be more in harmony with my original picture. Now here is my specific request to make that happen. Moving forward, my original thoughts on the UI of the CM panels were to have it look more like the image shown in, and I put the image in that particular directory. Is it possible you can get closer to that look? Can you make use of Node and Playwright to get a screenshot of the existing UI and compare it to the image that I provided? And sure enough, it says, I'll help you do what needs to be done. If we go down there, you see it's reading the image here that I actually dropped in for it. And right here, construct browser equal await Chromium launch. These are exactly the kind of commands that we saw in that test file, except it's not using the test file. And one by one, it went through these iterations, and here it starts adding actual code. And trust me when I tell you, it totally redesigned that UI without creating any new scripting, just free-flowing communication. Now we're going to see if we can cure this admin Ajax problem the same way. I'm going to just highlight that error message above it that says error creating panel group, which is evidently a debug message built in. And now this last communication was after it created the UI, which I approve of. So I'm going to say, thank you. Not that it matters. That looks, I can't help myself. I have to throw in the manners. That looks great. Okay, a bit of a reward system perhaps. However, I now notice upon saving, so I've pasted the actual console log error, and then I ask it, okay, so now we're in the ad lib environment, right? There's no scripts. I'm telling it there's an error. It's in the console. Can you see it? We know it's behind a login. We're going to press enter and see what it does. Okay, total hands-off, one request. It took about, I don't know, it was probably a full 3 minutes. It just iterated and iterated. I'm going to just show you a little bit of background on that. This is all iterations as it was doing what it does, testing. And this is the beauty of it. It's looking at the results. Oh, that didn't work. Test instead of me being the one that has to go back and each time tell it something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong, is doing it on its own. I haven't touched anything, and you can see it's got 2 new groups that I didn't create. So let's create another one. Pick an orientation, create the panel group, and now we have 3. That's a beautiful thing. Now, just for the heck of it, I'll go ahead and delete these groups. See if that goes according to plan. And it does. Beautiful. And that is it. I hope you got something out of this. I know I'm very excited. My guess is this is just a toehold. I'll be using this to create more and more functionality. It's just an amazing thing. If you'd like to have a front row seat for these types of video as we move forward, please be sure to like and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.